we had a really great call on what's working now. And three top agents, Ben Gray is actually a coach. So he coaches agents on how to build their business and have more profitability. So you don't have more months than money. And he gave some great tips and interviewed Harrison Bocook as well as Melissa Thompson. And Melissa Thompson shared her 60, what did she call it? It's 60, it's like 60 rituals for the business. And so they're goals to hit every single week. And so you will see that as well. But hopefully you guys took great notes on those calls. That is one thing we want you to do. Take notes on these calls. You're spending the time to come, and this is going to help you grow your business and increase your bottom line. And so taking notes is the way to learn, right? We all learn by seeing, but also we learn by doing. So we want to make sure that you're getting great results from these calls because you're taking the time, and that is one way to do it. All right, cameras on. You never want to show up to a Zoom call without your camera on because you know it's Zoom, right? So you know you're going to be on camera. So turn them on. We want to talk with you. I love seeing your faces. This is sort of our like office meeting, right? This is how we connect with each other. And it's also great to see all of you. So turn your cameras on and go ahead and type in some positive focus, or you can raise your hand and we will just pull you up as well. Martha, do you got a positive focus for us?
Hey, Stacy, how are you doing?
Good. How are you, Richie?
Good. I got my wife here with us for a little bit. She recently joined the team here. We got a listing going on this Thursday. We closed one last Friday, and she has her friend put under contract, and we just did all the inspections, and and it looks like it's going to work out. But so those are some pretty cool wins for us.
That's awesome. Well, welcome to your wife. What's your wife's name? Christina, welcome. Congratulations on already putting something under contract. Way to go.
Thank you.
We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
Yeah, you bet. Jim said largest commission check in 8.5 years closed last Thursday. Jim, come on for a second and tell us, where'd you get the lead? And what's this largest commission check?
All right.
Oops, sorry, you're muted.
Well, I thought I clicked it. I guess not. So networking group lead, if you guys have an opportunity to get in the networking groups, I highly recommend it. I've been in this one for probably 7.5 out of my 8.5 years, and I get about 6 or 7 closings a year from it. So I sold their house last summer and then got them, they were both in the Air Force. And so from Germany, we found them a new construction home. Did not even realize it, but it was a 5% commission. And in fact, I emailed the new construction agent and said, am I reading this correctly? She said, yes, you are. And so $900,000 sale with a 5% commission. It was, it took 9 months to happen, but it's the best one I've ever had. So
that's amazing. Congratulations. That's really good. And I love that you got it from a networking group because sometimes networking groups get a bad rap and they can be, right? They can be a waste of time. But if you get really focused entrepreneurs, small business owners that are really wanting to grow, they want to help you grow too. So if you don't find your right fit at first, create one. Find some rock star people, put them in a networking group, look what can happen, right? When you spend time each week talking about wins, talking about how they can help you grow your business and how you can help them. So I love that. Really great, Jim.
And this is a pressure washing guy as well. So, not who you would expect to get the most amazing leads from, but so we sold their house for $400,000 and then they had this purchase. So 1.3 million from a pressure washer. Not too bad.
That's awesome. Very good. Yeah, you never know where it's going to come from, right? Never know. All right, what else we got for positive focus? I know some of you have definitely put some deals under contract. I know that you've closed some stuff. Maybe you are putting together your business plans for next year. Type them in the chat. Brittany said, I got 2 under contract in the last 2 weeks. That's awesome. Brittany, can you unmute for a second and just tell us where you got those clients from? I think it's always interesting to find where people are getting their business.
Sure. Hi. So one was actually a past client of mine. We've done 2 or 3 deals together, and they're doing a construction to perm loan. So as soon as they pick a plan, that's actually going to be my highest sale so far at like $1.2 million, $1.5 million, somewhere around there.
Nice.
So that's good. And then the other one was actually kind of networking from an agent who's out of town. So she used to live in Charlotte, now moved to Charleston, and she has still Sphere here. So that was an agent to agent referral.
That's awesome. Keeping in touch with other agents too, right? Very good. That's a great referral source, especially like what you said, she was in this market and then moved, and so has business to refer out. Love it. Good job. Troy said, personal flip house sold yesterday and 2 new listings this week. That is awesome. What was the business source for your 2 new listings, Troy?
Personal contact, past clients.
Nice. And how do you stay in touch with your past clients mostly?
Mostly is the old-fashioned way, a monthly mailer. And
Nice.
I just try to call, 5 or 6 a week, just at a steady pace, ask how they're doing. And it usually turns into several listings a month.
Perfect. So touch program that includes newsletters and personal reach out.
Email too, of course, but nobody reads emails.
Yeah, that's right. Email. I always say email is the new junk mail, but you do get credit for it because people see your name, right? So
They see your name. That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. Really good. Let's see. Oh, Jim, Kathy asked, what type of networking group was it? Was it like a BNI, like a referral group? I just assumed it was.
I was typing up a response. So there's one here in Charleston called Greater Business Networking, GBN. And we actually broke off a couple of years ago because we had no control over who joined the group. So kind of back to what you're saying about some groups not working so well. We didn't like how if they paid their fee to the main branch, they were in, and we didn't get a chance. So we broke off on our own. So we're just a local group of, I'm actually in Somerville outside of Charleston. And so it's just a lot of key people. We give back to the community, we volunteer. And so we have that as part of it as well, raise funds for not-for-profits. So we're called Somerville Outreach and Referral. So just a 1 location only group.
Love it. Very good. Awesome. Kristen said, I got 2 sellers under contract. One was a Google lead and one was a referral from my Sphere. Nice work. Becky said, I got 1 under contract, a long-term lead I was cultivating. Love it. Look at you guys are so good. Now you're like giving me the source. Rosmi said, closed the property last week and got a duplex listing going live in the MLS tomorrow. Awesome. Matt said, first time home buyer from Sphere under contract this past weekend and a new listing under contract yesterday. Becky said, nope, Becky, we're from everywhere. It just happens to be that the ones that are talking today are like Charleston, Charlotte. Troy's from Minneapolis though, so like that area, right? No, we have people from everywhere, but really good question. We'll let you in. You're from California. We'll let you in. Okay. Oh, Alyssa said, I took Lars's advice and joined Reddit to contact for sale by owners and expecting good results soon. That is awesome, you guys. The best thing that we can hear is that you're taking action from these calls, right? Because we do these calls to help all of us grow our business, to help all of us connect, all of us to have this community, which fosters business growth. So really good job, Alyssa, taking action. And we'll look forward to hearing your positive focus from all the FSBOs that you list, or even referrals. You can get referrals from FSBOs too. So that is awesome. Really, really great work. All right. So today is our market update call. So as always, I always kind of tell you guys, this is for sure the time to take notes, right? And Steve Harney, who is the owner, I guess, of Keeping Current Matters, he's doing the monthly market report. I love when he does it. He does such a great job. He's just got this sort of voice of wisdom. So we will play that in just a second. And today they actually gave us a slide. I'm going to share my screen really quick because I thought it was great. And it said some things to get out of the call today. So let me share this real quick, and you can screenshot this if you want. I'll make it bigger. So they said, do you need more listings this month? Be the local expert. Watch the market update video. We load the slides into our community group on Facebook. Add your local perspective and answer your client's toughest question. 3 key insights inside are graphs explaining why inventory and sales are low and the benefits of selling in this market. Expert data providing home prices are back on the rise, and forecasts that project continued price growth. And then charts that clarify how much equity Americans have today and why leveraging it to sell is a huge win for homeowners. If you're a person that does weekly market updates or monthly market updates, these 3 key insights would be amazing for you to start off your market update. Instead of sort of the normal market update is, you know, hi, in our market, this many listings, this many pending, this many sold. You will sound like the expert, right? If you come in with, here's some insights in today's market report and blah, 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 and then you can insert your KCM slides and the information we're going to hear today, as well as some of your local take. So I thought this was so awesome. Screenshot this so you have it, and we will get started on the monthly market report. In 3, 2, 1. All right, I'm going to take it off. Boop. Hope you got your screenshot. All right. Now we will do the monthly market report. Hold on one second. I got to change my speaker. Sorry. Otherwise you won't hear it.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is Steve Harney, the founder of Keeping Current Matters, with the September 2023 issue. All right. There's a lot of confusion in the market right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you to make sure that you understand. I want to make sure you understand your responsibility throughout that confusion. Most agents know what's happening. Good agents understand what's happening. Great agents can explain what's happening. And that's important. You need to be able to explain what's taking place in the market right now to take away the confusion. Because if we don't take away the confusion, what happens next? Well, then there's concern, and after concern comes fear, and after fear comes panic, and then, you know, that we can not only know it and understand it, but that we can in fact explain it. How do we do that? Here at Keeping Current Matters, we're exceptional at 2 things: aggregating the data and communicating that data simply and effectively. Nobody wants data and big charts and graphs and stuff that you can't even understand. We need that data. We need to collect that data. But going out to the consumer has to be a story, what that data means to them. Once you build that storytelling skill, you'll always be valuable. So let's jump right in. Home sales. We already know that home sales are way down. I wanted to give you exactly what those numbers are year over year. In the United States, we're down 16%. In the Northeast, Midwest, South, and West, we're all down, and we're all down double digits. Now, when you see a number like this, the first thing you might do is get a little bit depressed on the fact that, well, that's have a major part of your income going forward. But also remember, and I know I'm not trying to, lighten the situation here. We have to switch this. We have to change this. I get that. But if you're thinking about your income itself, remember, you get a percentage of the price of the sale. And over the last 3 years, the price of a house in many markets went up 50%. Some markets more than that, some markets a little less than that. So it's not like you lost that amount of money, maybe compared to last year. But if we go back to the last normal year of 2019, well, really, you're not making as many transactions, but you're making more money per transaction. Just keep that in the back of your head. Now, I know that the transactions mean people actually people moving on with their lives, and that's what we help them do. I often say, let's not worry about the money. So I'm not trying to say, think about the money right now. What I'm trying to say is, don't worry so much about the money. Because in reality, we lost the amount of transactions, and we want to build them back up. But when we're talking about income, it wasn't as dramatic. If we compare it to 2019, the last good normal year, the last couple of unicorn years, that was kind of crazy. Now, there are two factors driving current sales activity down. That's inventory availability, there's not enough houses on the market, and mortgage rates. Unfortunately, both have been unfavorable to buyers. And we can also argue they're unfavorable to some sellers who would become buyers, because the sellers who are sitting on a 3% mortgage don't want to give that up and buy a house with a 7% mortgage. I get that. Most of them won't. Now, if we take a look at that, what did that do to inventory? Well, inventory was a challenge long before rates jumped up. As a matter of fact, if we take a look at the average annual inventory of homes for sale going all the way back to 1999, it hadn't hit 6 months inventory even then. And 6 months is a normal inventory, ladies and gentlemen. That's when the market is balanced. There are people saying because of technology and because of the quickness in which we can do things now, maybe it shouldn't be 6 months, maybe it should be 5 months, maybe it should be 4.5 months. I'm going to stick with the 6 month number because that's what NAR sticks with, and I think that's still a legitimate number. When the market normalizes, you're going to want to take 6 month listings if you're not already. That's going to be important. So I'm going to go to 6 month inventory, and if we're taking a look at 6 months of inventory, outside of the bust years from 2006 all the way to 2011, we haven't hit 6 months. Now, there's a couple of reasons for that, and I want you to understand this, and I want you to understand it well enough to be able to explain it. Tell your sellers when you're going after the listing, they're in prime position right now to put the house on the market. They're going to get the best price with the least amount of contingencies, because there's still a very strong buyer demand, but there's not enough houses to sell. And the reason for that is we could take a look at buildings first, all right? Single family housing, homes completed. And we can see that for 14 straight years, up until this year, for 14 straight years, it was below the 52-year average. Builders got hurt during the crash just like everybody else did. And they pulled back. They had overbuilt, if you look like in 2006, 7, 8, and 9, they had overbuilt in those years. And then they just cut back entirely. And for 14 straight years, they built less than they normally would build. That's leading to some of the inventory shortage we have right now. Another thing that for a period of time, right after the pandemic hit, people just stayed in their houses longer. So if we take a look at this, we can see that from 1985 to 2009, the average tenure in a house was 6.1 years. Now, if you look down at the bottom, it doesn't show every year. I want you to understand during that 1985 to 2009, NAR didn't take that survey every single year. But every single year that NAR did take that survey is represented here. So I don't want you to think I missed some years. That's not what happened. So what wound up taking place is that from 1985 to 2009, people stayed in a house about 6 years. That number jumped up 50% right after the crash, where people are now staying in the house 9.3 years. So what does that mean? That's less turnover of that inventory. And what does that mean? Less inventory coming to the market. So I want you to understand between builders not building, they're building a lot now, but builders not building for 14 years at the normal level, and homeowners staying in the house longer. That also added to the inventory shortage we have right now that's very acute, as sellers are sitting back saying, I don't want to give up this low mortgage rate. What does that mean? Well, so far this year, let's take a look. The blue represents how many months inventory we had each of those months. The red is how much we're missing to get to 6. And we can see that we have about 50% of the inventory we really need. If we take a look at the situation and we look at the fact that if we look at the August each year, new listing count in August of each year, what we can see is that if we compare it to the normal years, forget about those unicorn years, but if we compare it to the last 3 good normal real estate years, we're way below what we need to be in new listings. Active listings, people keep on talking, well, active listings are going up, the listings are getting better, and they are. The challenge is they're nowhere near where they need to be. And the total listing count, same situation, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you might not want to break down each one of these things, so I put it all in one slide for you. And this compares August to the last 3 normal years in real estate, the August of those years. So we can see that new listings, active listings, and total listings are all down. And we should let sellers know that. I'm not sure they realize that. They know that they're staying in their house because of the mortgage rate. I don't know if they know so many are. Because again, that gives an opportunity to someone that is thinking about making the move to really get top dollar for their house and also to remove some of the contingencies in the negotiation. And I want to give you a piece of information here that really shocked me. And I don't get shocked easy. I've been in the business 35 years. But this shocked me. All right. Well, inventory continues to be in short supply. August witnessed an unusual uptick in newly listed homes compared to July, hopefully signaling a return in seller activity heading toward the fall season, which typically is the best time to buy a home. As you know, what I attempt to do is make sure that we make things visual so your consumer can understand it. So if we take a look here, what happened was, for the first time in 7 years, the amount of new listings coming to market between July and August increased instead of decreased. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we only have 7 years of data from Realtor.com. But, remembering back, and again, I've been in the business 35 years, remembering back, this is pretty interesting. I don't think I remember 1 year that from July to August inventory went up. Now, I'm not ready to stand on that statement because I don't have the data behind it, but I don't think it's just the last 7 years. I will argue in the vast majority, if not all of the last 35 years, inventory didn't jump. There could be 1 or 2 years there was an exception, but this is a major thing. Now, it's only 1 month. We have to wait for next month, but it might indicate that sellers who really need to move are deciding, I can't wait any longer. Or it might indicate that just like the buyers, surprisingly, to all the experts, the buyer said, you know what, I don't really care what the interest rate is, I need to buy a house. People are shocked that even when it hit 7.5, the buyers are still out there. Maybe not as many, but they were still out there. Open houses are still full. There's lines around the block on some open houses in some communities. So the buyers are still out there even though mortgage rates rose. So they got over the sticker shock. Maybe we're starting to see sellers get over the sticker shock. But we know not every seller is going to do that. So let's take a look at the lending landscape right now. And this is a graph I'd like to show you because I think it's important. All right, inflation and its relationship with the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Now, ladies and gentlemen, again, I want everyone to understand that there's no way we can say this is what the mortgage rate is going to be based on any one metric. Mortgage rates are like a Rubik's Cube. You got to keep on twisting and twisting and twisting, and it could take you days, years. I've never got one. That's how complicated forecasting mortgage rates are. But if we do take a look at this one metric, it's kind of interesting. If you go all the way to the left, the dotted blue line going up was inflation in the early 70s. And what happened one lapse of time afterwards, what wound up taking place with 30-year fixed rate mortgage? Well, after a couple of years, what wound up taking place is that shot up, the dotted green line. Then the blue line, the solid blue line, it dropped. And almost immediately on that drop, so did the 30-year fixed rate mortgage. Now, if we continue that all the way across, and obviously in 2009, 2010, there was some craziness because of the housing crash, but if we continue that all the way across, there is some correlation between those two numbers. And what's taking place right now? Inflation is dropping like a rock. 30-year mortgage rates haven't followed it yet. But most experts believe that they are going to follow it, and we're going to see high sixes by the end of this year. And I think when there's a 6 at the beginning of the number, a lot of people's attitudes are going to change. It's almost psychological. And they believe that it's going to be in the 5s by the middle to the end of next year. At 5, the floodgates are going to open. So what we're doing is we need to be patient right now, because as the Fed, and I'm not going to take sides on whether the Fed's doing it right or wrong, but as the Fed is driving down inflation and hurting the housing market to some degree right now, in the long term, if the mortgage rates follow, all right, then we're going to have a really, really strong market. Now let's jump over to home prices. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's jump over to another part of the lending standards, the NEPO buyers. Now the word NEPO is kind of, nepotism, and it has a negative connotation that shouldn't be. Nepotism means you kind of favor your family. That's called a family business in my mind, but it's had a negative connotation over some time. So I want you to understand that if you're using this, that you could get a negative pushback on it. But I also want you to understand that the New York Times, the Wall Street Journal, Fortune magazine, Forbes magazine are all using the term. So that's a term that's in the market right now. So I want you to be aware of it. You have to decide whether or not you want to take on those 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 people that are going to say, well, I don't think it's fair that, some buyers can get help from their parents. We're going to get that pushback no matter what happens. All right, so that's where that NEPO comes from. But again, all the major reporting institutions are using the term, so I wanted you to know the term. And 38% of recent home buyers under the age of 30 used either a cash gift from a family member or an inheritance in order to afford their down payment. As a result, a large share of young homeowners can be labeled NEPO home buyers, meaning they receive family money to purchase a home. Ladies and gentlemen, the way I see that is families helping their kids. And I will guarantee you one thing. Much of that money came from the parents' house. The wealth that the parents built in their house. So again, when people talk about, well, is home ownership really building generational wealth? Oh yeah, very much so. Because when the parents own a home, the chances the kids own a home dramatically increases. And part of the reason is the parents are better off financially and can help their children out. And again, there are some people who are going to take objection to NEPO. It's a family helping one of the family members. Now let's jump to home. Oh, again, I keep on wanting to jump to home prices too quickly. All right. Down payment assistance can help for the people who don't have rich parents. Down payment assistance can help first-time home buyers who don't have help from family to afford a home. Rental assistance can help families reduce their costs and help them save up for a down payment. Whether you're a loan officer, whether you're a real estate agent, please make sure you understand those down payment assistance programs, because not everyone has a parent that owns a home. There are some people that are changing the metric in their entire family now. They'll be the first one in their family to own a home. And they'll build that wealth over time and over the future generations. All right? So please make sure you know that these things are available. Now let's get to what I really want to talk about, apparently, is home prices. Because I wanted to congratulate you in a very, very big way. I made a big point of saying that coming into this year, more people thought that housing prices were going to fall than any year prior that was ever recorded, going all the way back to 2010, the first year they took this survey. And in January of 2023, a survey was done by NerdWallet that said that 67% of people thought there was going to be a housing crash in the next couple of years. So we went on a mission to make sure that we let people understand that wasn't going to take place. Because again, when we're talking about people being concerned, We were talking about that concern turning into fear, that fear turning into panic, and that panic turning into a paralysis. So we went after this, and I just want to congratulate everyone on this call. You did a lot of tremendous things in order to help people understand. You got the word out in the blogs, you got the word out in when you listen to deep dives, you got the word out with our infographics and you know, every single thing that we did, the monthly market reports, everything we did. And look what happened. It's working, ladies and gentlemen. Less and less people think that prices are falling. We're down to 24% from 37%, which was the December number and also the January of this year number. So you should give yourself a hand. If you're sitting by yourself, give yourself a hand. If you're sitting in a room with a bunch of other people, everybody give each other, you know, a rounding applause. This is amazing what we were able to accomplish. But the job's not over yet. Still, 1 of 4 Americans believe prices will depreciate. Now, I want you to understand that. If you have another couple over for dinner, 1 of those 4 people think prices are going to fall. I hope it's not you. If you go to a barbecue and there are 16 people at the barbecue, 4 of those people think that prices are still falling. We have to educate those 4 people. And if you're walking out of your place of worship this weekend, and there's 400 members of the congregation walking out to the parking lot together, understand 100 of them think prices are still going to fall. Let's turn that around. This should be on your phone. Because what wound up taking place is very easily understood. Appreciation got out of whack last year, to be the first half of last year. What happened the second half of last year? A correction to that, to out of whack appreciation that occurred at the beginning of 2022. But what's happened so far this year? Prices each and every month are showing appreciation. Okay? So it's definitely starting in February. And I backed it up with 3 more pricing indexes showing the same exact thing, ladies and gentlemen. So and each of those numbers are going to be different because each have a different methodology. They might look at a different set of numbers to some degree. The FHFA only looks at government-sponsored loans. Case-Shiller looks at all properties. Everyone's going to have their own methodology. But what do they all agree? Things got out of whack at the beginning of last year. There was a correction, and now we're going back to normal appreciation. It's important people understand that. As far as going forward, what we always depend on is the Home Price Expectation Survey. A nationwide panel of over 100 economists, real estate experts, and investment and market strategists. The Pulsomics surveys them every quarter. Here's the latest survey. This is what they think are going to happen with prices going forward. Now, ladies and gentlemen, people always ask, well, how come 2024 they think it's going down? They adjusted 2023 pretty dramatically, and things are moving so fast right now, I just don't think they got to the adjustment on 2024. I think the next quarter numbers are going to come out, and I think that we're going to see that 2024 number is going to be higher also, in the 3s. But they dramatically adjusted that number. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at the bottom line of this table. They last quarter thought their prices would be down by 2% by the end of this year. Now they think they're going to be up 3% by the end of this year. Just in 90 days they made that switch. But they're not the only ones. These are well, not 90 days, I shouldn't say that, in 180 days, the beginning of the year. So this is what we have right now, where these are major entities that projected things in December of last year, where they thought prices were going to be at the end of 2023. And to the right is their current forecast. So people got crazy. Look at AEI, the American Institute, the Enterprise Institute. They thought prices were going to go down 15 to 20%. Now they think they're going to go up 6%. They went from the most negative to the most positive. But all that's saying is this thing happened quickly. When they saw prices dropping at the second half of last year, they thought that was going to continue and we were going to walk into another 2008. We here said, no, that's not going to happen. Let's take a look at inventory. Why would sellers rush houses to the market if they have a 3% mortgage rate? They couldn't rent for what they're paying in their mortgage right now. So we fought that narrative then. And luckily we were right. So what we're going back to, ladies and gentlemen, I think a much more normal appreciation, and that is good for the market. If you look back 48 years, if you take out 21 and 22, if you look back 48 years, what you can go ahead and see is that this is the normal, non-seasonally adjusted appreciation for each month. So this is how much houses go up each month, and we can see it tails off. Here is this year's appreciation compared to that, going through June, the last numbers we have available to us. What we're doing is we're returning back to normal appreciation. That's a really good thing for the market. As wages go up and eventually as mortgage rates come down, if prices remain stable, then what winds up taking place? Affordability goes up. And that's one of the biggest challenges in the market right now. Now, in order to get that done, we need more houses in the market too. There's no question about that. And I think that we should be looking at equity to help people with that. Because we know without a doubt that one of the major reasons that people are not putting their house on the market is they have a low interest rate, a low mortgage rate. How low? Well, 70.7% of people would have a mortgage less than 4%. 70.7% of this country has a mortgage less than 4%. That's crazy, ladies and gentlemen. Just crazy. But that's why they're not moving. They're afraid to give up that low mortgage. As a matter of fact, I put it into a graphic, and I'm not saying this is, definite, this is the case. No, what I'm saying is basically, if you have less than a 3% mortgage, you're probably not going to sell. That's the blood red. The regular red number is you're between 3 and 4%, you're probably not selling. If you have between 4 and 5 right now with interest rate, mortgage rates at 7 as I'm recording this, you got to think hard before selling. If you're between 5 and 6, you're probably going to sell. There's not that big a difference. And obviously, if you're over 6, and I don't know who has mortgage over 6 anymore, but if you have a mortgage over 6, I guess those are people that bought more recently, maybe. Yeah, you're going to sell. It's not going to matter to you that they're now, in the high 6s, low 7s. All right. Now that doesn't mean that the people in the red areas are not selling. Understand that we sell 11,000 houses a day. We sold 11,000 houses yesterday. We sold 11,000 houses today. We'll sell, on average, 11,000 houses tomorrow. Because people still have to move. People get divorced. There was a recent survey, I kind of laughed at it. 7% of divorced people said they would still live together because the mortgage rate was low. I'd like to meet those 7% of the people that think that living in agony is better than giving up a mortgage rate. But really what that means is 93% of the people would move. That's important that we understand those things. There are people, a young couple, that, when it was cool when they first got married to buy a condo above the pizzeria in a really cool street in town because the walkability score was so good. But now they're pregnant with twins. That one-bedroom condo ain't going to cut it. They want what many American families want, a backyard to put a swing set in. Their kids are going to be more important than their mortgage rate. So there's going to be a whole bunch of reasons. There's death, there's divorce, which we already talked about. There's people getting promotions, really great ideas. Somebody in San Diego has a 3.5% mortgage rate. They just got their perfect job, the job they've always been wanting at the University of Pittsburgh. What, they're going to give up their future to save on the mortgage rate? No. They're going to sell their house in San Diego and they're going to move to Pittsburgh. And that brings up the other part of the story. Because understand that there are some people that have a tremendous equity. If someone's moving from San Diego to Pittsburgh, it might be that they have enough equity in their house that they could really put a sizable down payment, if not pay all cash in Pittsburgh. So I want to jump at that. Mortgage rates are less relevant to older homeowners. The survey done by Credit Karma says that about 1 in 4 U.S. homeowners, 26%, say high mortgage rates would not impact the decision on when to sell their home. Of those 26% of homeowners, 43% say it's because they would not need a mortgage to buy a new home. Well, the reason that older homeowners aren't worried about mortgage rates is because they have tremendous equity in their home. And if we break down those numbers, if we break down that 26%, 35% of baby boomers, 23% of Gen X, then millennials, then Gen Z. That 35%, many of them own the house free and clear. They can make a move. As a matter of fact, we just got new data in showing exactly what this means. 38.7%, the dark green, those are people who own their home free and clear. If they own a 4-bedroom colonial and now they're empty nesters and they're looking to move into a 2-bedroom condo near the water in a warmer climate, they'll probably be able to sell their 4-bedroom colonial on Long Island and buy cash to place that in Florida. And they might even have money left over. 30% of Americans have a mortgage with more than 50% equity. The average equity in the country right now, according to CoreLogic, is $294,000. Many of those people can go ahead and sell their house, and if they can't buy the next house all cash, they could put a sizable down payment down to keep the mortgage, even if it is at 7%, not a stifling monthly expense. Then we go to 28.8% have between 10 and 30%. 8.6% have, between 30 and 50%, 20.8%. 8.6 have between 10 and 30%. And people that have less than 10%, have equity but less than 10%, that's down to 1.72%. People in negative equity, people say, wow, people in negative, it's 0.12%. But let's look at the green. I think there's an opportunity to talk to those sellers. And we already know that according to the survey, 26% of them are saying, I don't really care about the mortgage rate. Let's talk to those people. Let's help them understand how they can use the equity in the house to move on. As a matter of fact, for the next several deep dives, there's those Monday morning half hours that we dive deep into it. All right, we're going to be talking only about inventory. That's what we're going to be talking about. And we're going to break it down just like we broke this down. Because what we need, ladies and gentlemen, we need this. Most agents know what's happening. That's not helping anybody, except maybe them. Good agents understand what's happening, and that's cool. I'm glad that they got that understanding. Great agents can explain what's happening. What KCM tries to do is identify the great agents in the country or the agents who want to be great. And we try to help you. We try to give you all the tools you could possibly need to reach that greatness. That's what we do. For example, please, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you know that the full buyer and seller guides are now available. They will make you look like $1 million. You can personalize them. They're very professionally done. It's like a professional magazine, all right, that you can give to buyers and sellers to trigger things, all right, trigger conversations. You could email them the PDF version of it, let them see it, and ask them if they have any questions. You can use it as a door knock, a knock on the door. Only carry one. Listen, if you're interested in getting this, give me your email address and I'll send it to you. Think about all the ways you could just use this one thing that KCM provides to you to really set yourself apart is that true professional, that great agent in your marketplace. But let's not forget the most important thing. Great agents take pride in making things easier to understand. We've all been put in a situation in a doctor's office or a lawyer's office that they talk all this jargon and we don't not really sure what they even mean, and we're sometimes too embarrassed to even ask the questions because we don't understand what they mean. Let's make sure we talk in simple terms. Let's make sure that we not only know what's happening, understand what's happening, that we can explain what's happening. And here's the test to that. Albert Einstein's one of Einstein's greatest quotes. If you can't explain it to a fifth grader, you don't understand it well enough. Now, I'm not suggesting that your buyers and sellers are fifth graders. I'm not suggesting that. What I am suggesting is let's simplify what we say. Let's use graphics, not convoluted graphics, very simple graphics to make the points we're looking to make. Because, ladies and gentlemen, in the marketplace right now, there are a lot of people that need help. And my argument has always been that we have a moral obligation to help them. Not just a professional obligation, a moral obligation. They depend on us. They depend on us to help their families make the move that they're trying to make, whether it's for good reasons or very difficult reasons. That dependency is still there. Let's live up to our reputations. The great agents, you know what you need to do. The agents who want to be great, you know where you need to get to. And again, KCM will help you in any way we possibly can. Till the next time, ladies and gentlemen, remember, keeping current matters.
All right. That was a great market report. So let's, you can raise your hand, type in the chat. What are some things that you're going to take from this call and talk to your clients about? Remember, he mentioned, simplifying what we've learned, simplifying the graphs, simplifying the information, and understanding it. So a fifth grader can understand it, right? Makes you a great agent. And all of us on this call are great agents, right? We're taking the time to understand. We're taking the time to, learn what all of these statistics are, right? How many of you took a statistics class in your real estate testing? No, they don't teach us that. They teach us statistics in like college, right? In high school, but not in real estate. They don't say, hey, by the way, you really need to know how to analyze statistics and explain them easily. So thank goodness for keeping current matters to help us with that. So what are your commitments? What are you going to talk about with these market reports? What kind of information are you going to put out there to show them that you are the expert in your market?
My question is, how do you get the reports, and where do you send them? I mean, how do you get them to send you these reports and pay for them so we can have them?
Yep. If you go to keepingcurrentmatters.com, they have a monthly membership, and I believe it's like $29. And then you can get these monthly market reports. You can get now local market reports, these fall buyer seller guides. Lars mentioned as well, there's blog articles they write for you. It's really a great investment. So you can get that from keepingcurrentmatters.com.
Okay, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Stacy.
Hi, Ara.
Hey, I'm using Keeping Current Matter for a long time already. And the way that I'm using it is I just go to the blog section that everybody will have access with the membership. And then I use those blogs to post it on my Kiwi Core website. So I created a section especially for blog inside the Kiwi Core website, and I just post it there. But for have a better push, what I'm doing is I just created my own WordPress blog page, and I'm using over there, and I noticed that have a lot of view. And not only that, people are going to checking my Google page, because in all at the end of the captions, I added the link if you want to contact me for more information. And that is taking people as well to search my profile in Google. So I like a lot better when I use it into the WordPress. It's reaching more people, and you can then share in all your social channel. So that is the way that I'm using it. But I thinking that the video is very helpful. So I will see if I can start trying to do some video with a statistic and sharing those. But the blog is a really good one.
That's really great. So using those types of materials for your website, which drives them to Google you and your page, and then they see other social channels, right? Because all of us, probably, I would say 99% of us, I'm going to take a chance, look at reviews before we buy something, right? Like this morning I was on Amazon looking for motocross dirt bike goggles for my son, right? So I'm like looking at the number of stars real fast, you know, trying to find, I'm like, oh, 6,000 must be good. Boom. Right. And so the more traffic you drive to yourself by using these types of things, either as a blog, do a video, put a post out there. If you don't love putting your face on video, you can do the, you know, static post of a chart or whatever, and just write some things that he said. Some of these statistics that they mentioned, I thought were so interesting. Like Chris mentioned, the equity available is enticing to sellers. The 11,000 homes are sold a day, right? That gives the consumers confidence. 38% under age 30 use the cash gift to afford their down payment, right? Getting them asking. 70.7% of mortgage rates are less than 4%. 68.7% have paid off their mortgage or at least 50% equity. 90% have 30% equity or more. I just thought that was so great, right? Like all of those stats just help you with conversations, or when people say, how's the market, right? You have context to say what is actually happening or what's going to happen with rates. You know, you actually saw a chart that said the economists don't necessarily agree. However, you know, it's trending toward hopefully high sixes, but you sound better than just, well, I don't know, I'm hoping it goes down. You know, like we can sound like confident, great agents, and you have to use that type of accent when you speak about it, because people will take you more seriously for sure. Joe said, he's going to talk about why your home is worth more now, low inventory, low available inventory, current interest rates, and keeping seller pricing strong. And if and when rates drop to sixes, more buyers hit the market. If they hit 5, the floodgates open. Right, really good talking to your buyers right now when they're like, I don't know, I better wait till it comes down. That was really good too. The down payment assistant programs. Just by a raise of hands, how many of you are like, you could name off the down payment assistant programs in your area? Just a couple. So not many. I could not either. So that was something I wrote down, like find out what those programs are so you have it available. Let's see, 1 in 4 still thinks that there might be a market crash. Knowledge is power. And then Jerry shared a link to an infographic. Brittany said, I used that to help close my last buyer. Was Brittany that the interest rates were, once it gets to 6 and then 5, the floodgates open?
Yeah, they were debating waiting, and they're like, oh, well, I heard that it's going to go down into the 5s and that would really help us on our payment. And I said, yeah, but then everybody else that was waiting is doing the exact same thing. So now you're going to have this flood. So either you pay the 7 now and possibly refinance at the 5, or you're going to pay a higher price to try to get the 5. It's a wash either way.
Yeah, I love it. I love how Steve mentioned too about like the person that was, you know, they live in San Diego with a 3% mortgage and they have their dream job in Pittsburgh, right? But you could use it even just people moving in your area. Like, you know, are you going to let an interest rate stand in your way of your plans or your dreams or this home? Knowing that, and then you could show them a chart of like what rates generally do with inflation and how inflation's coming down. You know, so again, I think it's taking the time to understand what it is we have to solve for that client, right? If it's just interest rates alone, then we can't solve that for them currently, right? We saw that the rates are what they are. But if there's something else that they need solving, maybe we can help them with that. Like, I really love this house. I really want this house, but I just don't want a mortgage at 7%. You know, well, if you had to pay $50,000, $100,000 more for this house, but it was at 5%, is that a more comfortable situation? Well, no. Okay, let's talk about then, you know, what options are, right? Sometimes it's just slowing down and getting them to talk through what's going on in their head or what did their coworker say. And so again, I can't like give you guys kudos enough for coming to this market report, because this is what we're learning. We're learning better language in order to talk to our clients, talk them off the ledge, or maybe push them up to the ledge sometime, right? Like get in the game. Let's have some conversations.
Stacy.
Yeah, Chris.
Couple of things taken away that we're thinking about right now. The last month's market update, I think they shared that like 67% of homeowners were more likely to make a move after they talked voice to voice with a realtor.
Yes.
So that was huge. It's like, just pick one of these things to talk about and call people. Like, don't overthink it, because just talking to them will increase their odds. And we actually had a lender in our market run a really cool scenario. She worked with a client recently, and that's what I put in the chat, was like, they're in a home at 3.5% rate right now. They've got a car loan, they've got some credit card, they got some other debts too. So here's their total monthly expense on payments. She moved them into a 7% mortgage, took the equity, because everybody's got high equity, wiped out all these debts. They've now saved $900 a month and moved to a new house. So it's like, that's a story that everybody needs to hear. So it's take a broader look at their entire financial picture, right? Because remember, guys, like how many homeowners got stuck during the hot bidding war market because they had a home to sell, right? They couldn't move. They're like, I'm contingent, I can't move. So like now all those people have a chance to actually move. Don't let the rate throw them off. Just look at their entire monthly financial picture, become a counselor for them on that.
Yeah, such a great share. And by now telling other people this same story, it gives people confidence. Maybe they're like, well, I don't have a bunch of debt, but this is my thing, right? So it's finding out what that thing is for them and offering them options. Like that's a really good lender too. So if you have a great lender that can have conversations, that is committed to this like you are, it makes a great team. So great share, Chris. Joe said, because you said you love this house and your current home's not working, I recommend putting in an offer. This will put you in the home you love. And when the rate comes down, you can finance. Yes. So just like a script in there. Love it.
It's a way to address it by using the things that your client has told you on why they want to move. You're using their words instead of your own. Because you said that your home isn't working and that you needed more space, and because that you already let me know you absolutely love this house, I would recommend putting in an offer, even though the interest rate is 7%. That way you're in the house that you love now. And eventually when rates do come down, you can refinance into a rate that you're more comfortable with.
Yeah, really good point. Exactly. So finding out, it all comes back to, right? Finding out what it is for them. What do they need to know in order to make a decision, one way or another. So, all right. Really great job, guys. Next week, we will have on a guest, Jonathan Alexander, and he's going to talk about YouTube. He has his YouTube channel is all about production and living in Boca Raton, and he is doing such a great job. I think he has 5,000 followers already on YouTube, and he started in January, and he has just nailed the process, and he's going to share it all with us next week. So look forward to seeing you then. Have a great week, and can't wait to see all your market reports and people realizing that you guys are the best agents out there. All right. Have a good day.